Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, so it's GuildCast. Yeah, that's right, episode 28 for June 19th, 2012. I'm Gary Gann, and on today's show, the die system undergoes a controversial change. A release date announced could be imminent, and Guild Wars 2 is going to make a whole lot of money. That's just in. All that and more, plus your viewer questions, but first, from, let's mix it up, massively.com. It's Elizabeth Clare. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. And from massively.com, it's Richie Procopio.
Hello, Gary, my fellow hosts and chat room.
And some guy who,
Stumbled in.
Come on, England.
Stop talking about the footy.
What's he what?
Want to.
Scott's been going on all day about the soccer game.
Football.
The soccer game.
Football.
The soccer game.
Football.
All right, so in this week, some controversial news hit the interwebs about the die system in Guild Wars 2. Very own Jason Winter covered the story right here on Gamebreaker.tv, and that dies would actually be account-based, or not account-based, not account-based. That's that was a slip there, because what I was dreaming
Way to
about.
ruin the controversy.
Yeah. They would not be account-based, but they would actually be character-based. And of course, the internet freaked out in internet fashion. Is it Kristen or Kristen? Kristen?
Kristen.
Kristen? It's a very interesting way to say Kristen.
I think it's pretty Kristen.
Yeah? It's a very interesting way to spell Kristen. But Kristen Cox had this to say, customized die should be something that denotes your character's progress, like better looking, more elaborate gear. As you spend more time on your character, they grow and gain access to more customization options. If we make dies account-based, this progression will only happen on one character. Of course, like I said, the internet blew up. Everybody freaked out. I think our post had a couple hundred hits on it by itself. Just, some people saying they kind of understood it. Some people freaking out about it. Now, I think this is one of the reasons why people really freaked out, right? Is that this is well, first of all, let me say, I mean, what do you guys think of this whole thing? I mean, this is kind of a pretty radical change than I think what anyone was expecting if you've been kind of paying attention to Guild Wars 2 for a while. All right?
Yeah.
You sound sad.
No, it's just kind of, yeah.
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 Nobody wants to comment? Great, show's over. See? Hey.
Peace, everybody.
It's okay. It's different from what was originally anticipated, but that was from, what was it?
2010.
A comment made like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, Kristen Perry in 2010 had this to say. They said, it says, once you unlock the color, it will be available across your entire account, not just the individual character. So this was 2010 when this was first kind of introduced in the whole die system, and they've changed it since then. And I think a lot of people, like I said, the community they're on top of it, man. They're watching every word. They're crossing every T, dotting every I. You got this stuff in a wiki, they're going to remember it.
How dare you change something from 2 years ago?
Yeah, I was going to say, for record, in 2010, there was still energy as a resource for skills.
That's true.
So things have changed a wee bit.
Yeah, that kind of thing actually drives me insane. I mean, you wonder why developers these days are so tight-lipped about release windows and different bits of information about their game. It's because if they say anything, it's canon from that point on, and don't you dare make a change to it. You can't change it. You said it, and we have it in writing. So I hate that they bring up a quote from 2 years ago. They have the right to change things, if they feel it's going to be better for the game.
I think it comes down, the controversy comes down to how much do you really care about having 400 dies on every single character? If you wanted 400 different dies unlocked on every character, I think you're enough of a completionist. I mean, it's crazy. That you're going to do that for them all anyway. Probably.
I
Or
wanted
you'll
all
get it for one
400.
character.
I'm going home. I don't have 400 dies. I'm going home.
That's why you're not in the fan art.
That's why I'm not in the fan art. Exactly. Don't make me break out dubstep licks. No, I mean, I totally, completely can understand ArenaNet changing this. I mean, this is obviously going to be part of the gem shop. They need to make some money, right? And they're only selling cosmetic items. And dies are going to be huge. Like you said, there's 400 of them. And this is going to be a way for them to generate money. And they have to. It is a business. You do need to make some money here. Like, if you don't want to sell swords, dies may be the next best thing.
And as we said, you're going to have the Mystic Forge. People will be figuring out what to combine with what to get the colour you want from Mystic Forge if you really want that colour. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's going to be options to do it. It's down to whether you see dies as being the all-important aspect of your playtime. And having that restricted to character, I mean, I'd almost expect most games it would kind of be like that. It's better than having it as like an on-use item thing. You know,
Yeah, so
so it's not that big a loss to me.
Yeah, for me, like being used to playing the original Guild Wars and Aeon, where like one die is one use, being able to unlock it and then use that die as many times as I want on that character. Like if I don't want to use it for a month, I don't need to use it for a month, and then if I want to die things like 15 bazillion times in that color, I can. So it kind of evens out on that aspect for me personally. Also, you know, within 2 weeks of launch, you're going to be able to go on the wiki, see what 3 shades of black you want to unlock, go unlock them, and the rest of it can just be frivolity. Like, I'm personally the kind of person that they're doing well with this, because I really like the random dies. During the weekend, I bought probably 5 random die packs from the store, got dies as I was adventuring, and just had a lot of fun being like, oh, now I'm a blue elementalist, now I'm a red elementalist, now I'm a gray elementalist. So, like, I don't mind it, but I might be the kind of person that this is good for. So.
What about if they were to do something where a one-time larger purchase buy-in to unlock them all? What if it was like, you know, $50 or $100 or something? Like what if it was like a 50? 50 doesn't sound crazy. All right, 100 sounds a little nuts, right? But think about it. $50. Maybe would you guys go for something like that? Maybe $50 unlocks all 400 dies across all accounts.
No.
No? I think some people would do that though.
I think some people would if they. When it comes down to this, if you're so keen on the entire act of getting all the dies and unlocking them as something, then I don't think you're going to want to spend $50 just for the fact that it's the process of unlocking them that matters to you. If you want to go and spend $50 because it's something you can't be bothered to do and just want them all, great, go ahead, fine by me. But it's not something I'd ever spend it on. I don't care enough about that. If there's a particular colour I want, I'm going to find out how to get it and get that one. Yep. And then if I want something else, I'll find out to get that and get that one. But, you know, so for completionists, people who are usually completionists, they want to earn it. It's that feeling of earning it that matters. So I don't think a $50 unlock everything pack would really be something that they'd want.
Do you don't think it's really the completionist thing? Like, it's really the point of saying, like, I have all 400? Or do you think it's... I tend to think it's actually more people who just, like, really messing around with and kind of doing the dress-up thing and changing their colors all the time. And I don't know. I think there's probably less people that are like, I have to have all 400 because that is an achievement.
Sure, but...
I was going to say, like, I don't think that there's much of a problem, you know, then if you just like to change your stuff, because you get so many dies just for creating a new character. I mean, there's a ton of different choices. Just right out of the box, you have dies. And I was getting random drops pretty frequently. I love the change that you no longer have to wait 24 hours and go to the die manufacturer. That was a huge, great change. You just find a drop, you click on it, and go, ooh, I got that die now, and I add it to my collection. You get a lot of options just by playing, and if you really wanted to buy a couple die packs just to give yourself more diversity, you can. And you could probably have 30 or 40 dies and customize your character to your content and not have to get anywhere near 400 dice to still have that. To me, it's really not that huge of an issue, especially considering there's so many other games, you know, where you'll find a rare vanity pet or you'll buy a mount in a store, and most of those games don't unlock it for every single one of your characters either. So this is, you know, I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah, and I think with ArenaNet's pricing model of buy the box, you know, not paying a sub fee, I mean, they should be able to do whatever they want to do with cosmetic items with microtransactions on the gem store. I mean, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree with that very much. And whether or not you agree that this is the best system possible, considering that previously it was still character-based, but you had to do you had to wait 24 hours for a single die to get processed, or you had to go to the gem store to buy something to unlock that quicker, I still think that this is a net win. So it's getting closer to being the right thing, whether or not you think that it is already the right thing or not.
Do any of you guys, are any of you guys the type of players that like, I don't know. I'm curious to just know like what kind of colors you guys choose for your stuff. Do you like do matchy match kind? Like I go for the completely like kind of realistic, but it's kind of boring thing. Like my last character, I kind of did like a 2 shades of like a kind of like a brown dark leather and like a darker almost blackish leather. Kind of just. I don't go for like the purple and red, and well, if I'm playing Magicka, I did have a pink outfit, but that was beside the point.
What I think is interesting about you saying is like I like having color in the outfits, and in fact, red's my favorite color, so I try to include that. But in Guild Wars 2, using the dyes, like using a lot of the earth tones and more realistic colors, actually makes you look cooler. It's interesting how that works in this game. Like a lot of the brighter colors don't look as good as the gritty earth tones and the metals and stuff like that.
What do you go with, Alex?
Like I said, I was just throwing on different dyes all weekend long. Like anytime that I was between events, I'd be like, I think it's time to change my armor color because I can. Also because I had like 50 dyes to mess around with.
See, but you sound like the perfect person to have 400 then, because you're just like in between things and you're just like totally thinking about, oh, I'm gonna go change this.
400 might be a little paralyzing and be like, oh, there are 5 shades of gray that are almost identical. Which do I choose? And that's kind of one of the things you run into when you really have 400 colors. Yeah. Go out, find yourself a color wheel, and try and find 400 really distinctly unique colors. And it's going to be difficult. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, and I'm sure that Kristen Perry is doing a wonderful job. But I think she herself admitted at one point that, yeah, like, you have a lot of very similar colors because there's only so much you can do that actually looks good and will hold up on most armor types.
Do you go more for the gritty, like, realistic stuff, or do you go more for the colorful stuff?
I go for pretty realistic, not gritty realistic.
What is pretty realistic? Is that like
salmon?
No salmon. So I did have a really dark gray that I was using, and then I was accenting it with like reds or blues.
What do you guys think of the aviators in the gem shop? That was kind of odd to me.
It's not something I would ever buy.
Learning so much about Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Here. Not the aviators. But...
Yeah.
What about you, Scott? What do you go for?
Because what I do is, if it's like low level armor, so you sort of bog standard basic stuff, I like to reflect that in the colours. I don't want anything too fancy or shiny. If it's, I want to earn it. You know what I mean? So when I'm going to my higher level gear, then I might start slapping on some of the metallics and make, I want to walk into a room and go, shiny, look at me, I look great, I earned this stuff. But if it's your bog standard gear at the start that you're just picking up, running around and doing your little renown quests or renown events and everything, then, just your greys and the... Look, I'm in rubbish gear, I want to look like I've earned it when I go away.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about those people who go with the aviators and like the crazy colors and stuff like that. What do this is probably gonna affect the most though. I ask this: are you guys altaholics? Because I could see the altaholics being the ones kind of like the most kind of sort of brushed the wrong way by all of this. I kind of go with one main character and usually stick with that. I have some ults, but not many, and I usually play one main, so it's not really gonna affect me all that much.
I just have I'll have lots of max level characters. that we know what main I'm going to have, of course, the Elementalist. And so, like, I'll just level one up to the top and then dabble around with the others as I go, and then concentrate on the next one and do it like that. I'll have lots of them. So yeah, I can see people who want to spend that time on lots of vaults being something that's really going to appeal to them, having the chance to go in and buy their dies and unlocking things for them. Which is why, again, it's something else for you to work at for your characters. It's something else for you to do on your different characters.
You think there's an achievement in the game if you unlock all 400?
Without using the cash app?
I don't know. You got to know that someone out there is going to collect all 400 for sure.
Sure.
I would think so.
I'll do it eventually.
Yeah. Godspeed.
It's called You Sad, Sad Man.
I think, well, you know,
That title.
and
Or woman.
one other way to look at this whole system too, especially for the people out there that might be a little bit kind of miffed by it all, is that I think we can all agree that this is a better system. The system's a million times better than the whole use one die, one time use kind of a system. I mean, that's
I hate that.
right. I mean, that would be the other alternative to all of this, is that it's a one-time die system. This is definitely better than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Completely.
And what
I
do
mean,
you?
in the
Go ahead.
in the current Guild Wars, a single black die is upwards of 6 or 8K. I don't remember what it is
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
ridiculous,
but it's
the
always
price.
ridiculous. So to buy an outfit, you're paying to dye an entire outfit black, you're paying as much as you paid to get the armor. So this is a step up.
Does anyone? Of course, we're still in beta. Does anyone possibly think that ArenaNet might take some of this to heart from the people who are complaining about this and revert on this? I'm going to say no. This is set in stone. They will be selling. I don't think they're going to change this, and I don't think they should. They got to make some money.
Exactly. It's a good way to get people going back in, if it's going to ensure that there's a constant resource of revenue for them on something that is absolutely purely cosmetic. There's no issue with it. And again, if you want to spend the time unlocking stuff, I don't see how it's that big a deal to say do it on one character if you desperately want that achievement. Because it's the only reason you're going to want to lock on 400. As Elizabeth says, seriously, it's so fine, the differences between many of these colours. If you're doing it just to have different colours, you don't need 400 at all. So it's only for that achievement of having all of them you're going to do it. So if you do it on one character, congratulations, you've done.
Yeah. There's going to be 3 people out there that are screwed because their absolute favorite shade of one color is one of the ultra rare dyes.
Yeah.
Those 3 people, I'm sorry.
I mean, let's be honest. 99% of the people probably really freaking out on the internet about this are only freaking out because they read that statement from 2010, and that's really kind of, it said it in black text on white paper, internet paper.
You said something.
was
You
on the
can't
web.
change your mind on things.
Viewers, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this? Are you guys okay with this? Leave a comment below. Tell us what you think about the whole die system. If you're for it, against it, of how ArenaNet's handling it. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts right here on this episode. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about release dates. Could a release date announcement possibly be coming very soon? Well, KDB Daewoo Securities, which is a company that regularly issues financial reports on NCSoft, had this to say in their June report. They said, given that the company will need some preparation time for marketing cooperation with online and offline agencies before the commercial launch in 3Q, we think an announcement about Guild Wars 2's commercial launch is imminent. What do you think? Is it true? Is it not true? Honestly, we have no idea. This is obviously a reputable firm, though, speaking about this, since they do speak about, NCSoft all the time.
Yeah, it's more likely to be true than other things, but it's still not ArenaNet or NCSoft saying it.
Sure, but sometimes we can almost take some of this more as truth than what anybody else says. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, we've seen the game pretty much as is at this point. It's pretty polished. We haven't seen not even half the content, though. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot of game that's still left unseen. I think the game looks pretty good at this point. And if people are starting to talk about an August or September release date, then yeah, I think an announcement of a release date is probably coming soonish. But all of this is all guesswork. No idea.
Back in their May report, they were expecting a launch before Thanksgiving in November. So what do you think? Anybody be surprised if, would you guys be surprised, Liz, would you be surprised if Guild Wars 2 slips into like that holiday season window?
I kind of would, just because, so ArenaNet in January came out and they said, we are releasing by the end of the year. Sometime in 2012, this is the year of the dragon, all that stuff. And I think that there would be some backlash if they waited till the holiday season, because that's the very tail end of 2012. And like we were talking in the Massively podcast today, you know, SWTOR had the whole, we're going to release before January. So they slipped out on the 20th of December or something. And that just doesn't look awesome. So I think it would be best for them to try and avoid that if the game's ready to come out before it.
I think that it could go to then. Of course, that's the prime time of year that companies like to release their games, that November, the build-up towards Christmas. But if we've got several more BWEs to come, that would not be good in my books. I don't want to play 5 or 6 more beta weekends, right? Frankly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be going in and experiencing the game in 2-day, 3-day chunks, because to me it'd be detrimental to it for that much time. I think the experience of it, you're still getting you know, we've talked about how it affects the way we see WVW, how permanent does WWW feel. All these other things are affected because we're only playing it in 2.5, 3 days. If we have to do that for another like 5 months, that to me
It would not be
a real
pretty.
problem.
Be awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it really? I mean, I know it's obviously bringing you down, Scott, and I could see it in your face of how just much this is disturbing you. But I mean, honestly, would it? You know, if it takes them more time to polish some more of this stuff, and that's really what it takes, and it takes a few more BWEs, is it going to stop you from buying the game?
No.
No, it's already bought.
Yeah, of course not. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, how
It's
detrimental
there
could
already.
it possibly be?
It's going to be detrimental to the point of the experience that you have when the game launches.
and I think it would really be detrimental to hype, because
Yes.
if you have, you know, 1 or 2 more beta weekends, great. Like, people are still interested. You've got people, maybe before the last one you have a launch date already, so people are super interested. You have a whole influx of new players, good attitude. For once, I'm not even sure I would be playing another beta weekend if there were 5 or more, because at some point, like, I want re-rolling characters to stick. I want to put in that effort and have that experience and be able to go on with it rather than knowing it's going to get deleted again.
Are you all
So-
feeling that already? Are you kind of at the point that, like,
Yeah.
you don't want another beta weekend event? What do you think?
Maybe
One more? One more?
Like I said, I'd be good with 1 or 2 more, especially if it was 1 or 2 more that, you know, start afresh for the first one, and then the second one you roll over characters again so you get to do higher level content.
Yeah.
But
What about if they
much
did
more
one
than-
more weekend and then they went to like a week?
Depends on how much content's in there.
Or open like just for a couple weeks or something? I don't know, like a normal,
I
real
don't
open
think
beta.
that makes.
I don't envision
That
them
still
doing
doesn't
that.
make any difference because you're still
Yeah.
having that limited time span. The whole thing about MMOs is that it grabs you because you've got an open-ended experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can grow your character, and even if you get to max level in Guild Wars 2, you can still go and do lots of other things. But it's that sense of permanence you've got in what you do with your character matters each time you do it. If we're going to keep on having points at which it doesn't matter, it undermines the value of the game for your experience while you're in it.
It
Had a
does.
great time so far, having a fantastic time, all the WVW dungeon and everything else. How many times more are we going to do WVW when we're going to get it switched each day about who we're fighting?
But you're
And
here.
the-
You're
the
here to
people
help.
carry.
You're here to help them make the game better. You're a beta
Absolutely
tester.
right.
And if they need to make
Absolutely
stuff
right.
better and we need more time, that's been ArenaNet's thing, is we'll release it when it's ready.
But no, if they need more time, that's fine. It's just
Mm-hmm.
at some point it's going to be detrimental.
Yes.
I think I just came up with Jason Winter's over/under for the week. We did this thing on the
How many
Gamebreaker
more?
where Jason comes up with something and he gets the over/under number, and you guys guess what it is. And I'm now here. I got one for him. I was going to say, so BWE
less.
next BWE. What's the over/under on Sylvari and Asura being in the BWE? It's gotta be locked in, right? I'm saying it's got. They have to show it. They've got to
I'd
test
say
it.
it'd be incredibly likely at this point that they would have one or more of the races playable. It'd actually be kind of cool if they held one of them back. But if they had one or more playable for future weekends so that people had something new to get excited about, because, I mean, even though 60 hours at a time isn't really enough to get the scope of the game, by now if you've had someone who's playing in the closed beta test and is played in both the weekends and the stress test, by now they have a pretty good feel for this content maybe, depending on how much time they've spent in game, and people have certainly spent a lot of time in game. So I can see them adding new content to spice things up, sweeten the dish.
You want to know what's interesting about the whole Asura thing is I'm subscribed to the Guild Wars 2 YouTube page, and I got an email this week that said new video has been uploaded, and the title was Radasum Asura, city, like tour or something like that. And when I click the link, it actually says this video is private. So I'm wondering, maybe they're getting ready to show off the Asura.
Look at you with some inside info there. That's
tinfoil hat.
Are you serious? Why don't you write that up and put that on Gamebreaker? That's exclusive inside info right there. We live on speculation and making crap up. Write that up.
I can show you the email.
That's really interesting. No, that sounds pretty interesting. We'll see if that crops up. What do you think? Wonder how many days it'll take before that thing shows up.
If they're going to have 3 or 4, if they are going to have 3 or 4 more of them, it has to be, there's going to be one of those 2 races in one of the next couple, and then I have to hold one of them back for one of the final ones. Because they've got to have something to, yes, it's a beta, and yes, we're helping make it better, sure, and that's great, but still, as an experience for people who paid for the game already, it's still going to be part of their experience of those weekends, is needing something to make them want to go and test it and play it. And the 2 races are definitely 2 things that are going to do that.
So back to this report really quick. This was interesting as well. So their April report predicts, get this, 3.12 million sales in North America and Europe in 2012. That's what they're predicting, which is more than double the numbers that Ion saw. So what do you guys think? You think this is a realistic number? If the hype train keeps going, you think 3.12 million?
It's feasible.
Come on, stop. Why is everybody sitting on the fence? We make crap up. Didn't you hear me? We make this crap up. You put on your helmet and you say stuff. You throw words.
I don't have my tin foil handy.
I think it's definitely possible. Ion is, did well. So I don't think Ion got anywhere near as much attention as Guild Wars 2's got this year. I mean, I can't remember Ion being speculated by many people as being the new MMO of the year. I mean, of course, marketing would have done that.
I was saying except for
but like as the industry has reacted that Guild Wars 2 is the MMO to watch, new MMO to watch for this year.
Ion had a lot of hype back in the day. It did. It had quite a lot of hype.
I'm with Scott. It's not as much as this. It's not as much.
I don't know.
What I find interesting.
Go ahead.
What I find interesting is this 3.12 million sales guess is from an April report. Well, wouldn't they have more information now since the pre-purchase has been live for a few months? Wouldn't they be able to more accurately, or is this? I guess that information has not been released, so they can't speculate.
Yeah, I mean, these securities firms they're not doing real-time data analysis. Yeah. They're putting out reports in quarterlies and stuff like that. So I don't know when the next one would possibly come. Yeah. I don't know. Chat room, you're with
a feasible number.
These guys, they're all afraid to say anything, so I'll listen to chat room. Chat room, you guys tell me. You guys think it's going to do 3.12 million, or you think it's going to go more than that? Come on, be part of the show. Let's go. I need some new co-hosts here. Go ahead.
I think it depends. Of course, it depends on when it launches. If it doesn't launch until November, it's not going to be 3.12 million for 12.
I'm seeing 2.8 million. I'm seeing 5 million, 5 million, 4.1 million, 4.5 million. I'm seeing lots. See, chat room's not from. Hey,
chat room's basically auctioning it off so you can get more ridiculous.
2, 3. I got one. I got over 9,000. Only took a couple seconds to find out. Okay, all right, moving on. All right. One of the last interesting thing in here is the April report indicates that NCSoft will receive about $48 out of every $60 for every copy of Guild Wars 2 sold. So, cha-ching! Make some money.
That's a big percentage.
Are you surprised by
That's a whole lot
that?
of cash.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that. That's a lot. That's a big cut.
That is a fair amount of cash. If you 3.1 million times $48 equals a whole lot of money. It's
Not including your
it's a lot
400
of-
dies you're gonna buy, Scott.
Exactly.
Watch,
yeah,
my
I mean,
prediction
come on.
is Scott's like, I don't buy that stuff. Watch, in like 6 months, he's going to be like the Guardian look. Scott, did you buy dies again?
No.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I already bought them all.
I bought all the blues.
I bought all the dies
The
for all
blue.
the characters. All 12 of my guardians have every die.
I'd be like, ArenaNet, can you please release more dies? I have more gems to spend, thank you.
It wasn't the dies, it was the extra character slots to put the dies on that was the problem. That's what broke me.
You'll buy those as well.
More Guardians.
What do you guys? So our producer of GuildCast, Dom, hates covering these stories. He hates it. He hates these stories so much. It's like an analyst says something, they get paid money to say things, but ultimately we have no idea how much we can believe. I don't know. Do you guys feel similarly? I don't. I actually like covering these things, and I generally feel like they're pretty close to being spot on. Scott, what do you think?
I think usually what most analysts do is they bend over, look between the knees, and then pull it out of wherever they can see.
It's about as good as fondling sheep guts, so.
It's they're basically taking educated guesses, and saying that Guild Wars 2 is going to launch before the Thanksgiving holiday. Wow. That's some genius level intellect working in there. So there's a good chance that they're going to release like one of the biggest MMOs of the year that they said before the main point of when games are usually released in the year. That's some speculation.
What about you,
It's-
Liz?
it's
You just take this with a grain of salt.
I kind of view analyst predictions for this sort of thing as just slightly better than fan predictions looking at the wall and saying, hey, there's a jersey that says 62812. Like, just a couple steps above. But, so, like I said, certain places have a better likelihood of being correct, but it's still only so much speculation. And there's been a lot of speculation about release dates, so I might be a little fed up with it to a certain extent.
You fed up, Richie?
I think they put, like Scott said, they put some estimates and some guesses out there that are very feasible and easy to believe. And the 3 million number sounds pretty good. Double Aeon is kind of sensational a little bit, and I think it could be more than that as well. And I don't know. It's hard because we've heard it's so drilled into us. If you follow ArenaNet on Twitter, you're like, you can't believe anything unless it comes from us. I mean, it's like a daily reminder. So it's hard to kind of get all worked up about news posts like this.
Oh, speaking of confirmations, somebody on, I think it was Facebook today, was asking, we need a release date. We've put our money on the line, blah, blah, blah. Like, I need a window. And I think it's actually Ruby, who's managing their Facebook page right now, responded that Guild Wars 2 will release in the second half of 2012, so there's your window. It is official. That is the window. Second half of 2012.
Second half of 2012. There you go.
As we're sitting in the middle of June.
Bam. Slamming the gavel down. Hear ye, hear ye. Breaking news.
You heard it here first.
It won't release in the next 11 days.
There you go. Guaranteed. All right, hey everybody, I want to tell you about this great deal we got going on with Netflix. If you guys have not checked out their streaming service, that is the service that streams to your iPad and your iPhone and your Xbox, PS3, and all that good stuff. We've got a deal going on right now. If you go to netflix.com/GamebreakerTV, you can sign up right now for a free 30-day trial to check out the service, no questions asked. It's $8 a month after that. Pretty sure when you try it, you're actually going to love it. I don't have time to watch TV in real time anymore. I don't think most people do. And this is pretty much how I watch all my television shows and my new movies. Of course, I watch Aliens. Yes, I watch a lot of Alien stuff. But yeah, go over to netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. Sign up today. Give it a shot. Tweet at me, bro, and let me know if you like it. I know we get a lot of tweets. Some people, it's not in certain countries. Hopefully we'll be soon, but sorry.
Thor's on there now.
Oh, is it?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, you can watch Thor.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
It's on as of this week.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right, go check it out. Netflix.com/GameBreaker TV. Free 30-day trial. Let's do some viewer questions. First up this week. Is this our first video viewer question ever? Wait. Wait for it. Wait. We got a video question. We love video questions. We never had one. It's like a first for GuildCast. This is where you ask a question, but you record it, put it on YouTube, send us the link, and we'll play it. Yeah! All right, shut up. Let's let's watch this video question.
Hello, GuildCast. I am Green Cactar, and I had 2 questions to ask you guys. But first, Netflix.com/Gamebreaker TV.
All right. First of all, my favorite. How awesome is this guy? We didn't even have to pay him to do this, and he just plugged Netflix.com/Gamebreaker TV in his video question. You're a genius. You're a genius. You get applause for that, so good for you.
.com/Gamebreaker TV. Applause.
Look, he's applauding too. I didn't even realize he's applauding. All right, good.
Secondly, well, no, that wasn't the first question. But anyways. My first question is, do you believe Guild Wars 2 is the second coming of Jesus Christ? And the second one is...
wait. All right. So first question. Do you believe that Guild Wars 2 is the second coming of Jesus Christ?
I think I'm gonna go with no.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because there was a mushroom like in my drain on my sink, and it kind of looked like the Guild Wars 2 dragon, but then it kind of had like Jesus standing over it, and
Did you eat it and you were miraculously healed, or was there a weird time?
No, but if I would have...
Did you see this mushroom, or have you eaten this mushroom?
If I would have eaten the Guild Wars 2 Jesus mushroom, I may have been able to absorb the power of the Guild Wars 2 and Jesus.
Did he say in his stink? I think he said there was a mushroom in its stink.
Yes, there was a mushroom in my stink.
You always go for the worst. You're a terrible person.
I'll have to watch this later.
Yeah, name of the episode, Mushroom in My Stink.
Seriously, I'm going to do that now.
Elizabeth is you're so holding. You're not abused. Richie goes with no. I'll go with yes. Guild Wars 2 is the second coming of Jesus Christ. It will come down. It probably is something to do with the Mayan calendar, 2012, the whole thing. It's really
smite you.
It's probably the Guild Wars 2 launch, and the magnetic poles will shift, the Earth will freeze over, and
then we won't be able to play Guild Wars 2. Good job.
But you don't have a sub fee, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know.
It's true.
Scott? Do you have a mushroom in your stink?
I find that if I have a mushroom in my stink, it's always best to go to the doctor immediately after.
Maybe that's what I should have done.
I think that would have been best, yes.
Oh, God. All right, sir. I hope you have a better second question. Wait, I'm just going to wait. Ready?
Questions to ask you guys, but first, Netflix.com/Gamebreaker TV. Applause. Secondly, well, no, that wasn't the first question. But anyways. My first question is, do you believe Guild Wars 2 is the second coming of Jesus Christ? And the second one is...
Maybe they should make Jesus mini pet. I think that would... Gem Shop? Would you buy that?
I feel like you would offend somebody
How about the Jesus that's like this?
Would that offend? Jesus mini pet?
Jesus, buddy.
Would you like to join my Guild Wars 2 cult? We are a religion based around Guild Wars 2 called...
Wait. First a Jesus question. Now he's got a Guild Wars 2 cult that he wants us to join.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to eat the mushroom from Scott's stink? to get into this?
What?
I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
Is that how
That
you
is
get
a-
indoctrinated into this cult?
If that's true, then I'm right out.
All right, let's keep up with this guy here.
We are a religion based around Guild Wars 2 called Guild Wars 2ism, and our god is actually Guild Wars 2. So that's the thing. Once again, 7-Bit Brian is racist, and thank you.
Did he say Ryan is racist?
Hello, GuildCast. I am Green.
No, Brian.
Brian is
7
racist? Is
7-bit
that what he
Brian.
said? He said
Yeah, 7-bit Brian, yes.
is racist.
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
accusation he throws indiscriminately.
Yeah, he just tosses that out there.
Yeah, and then he'll say, "Can I stick my toe in your ear?" I am literally.
Oh, that's you?
saying- That's not me.
No, not you. Like you, the viewer. No. That's not you.
Yes.
I didn't think that was you.
That's Green. Yes.
I feel like we've gotten off to the with the wrong foot
We're just gonna-
on the video questions
Enemy
here.
Guild Wars 1 is the Old Testament.
Aliens.
Or... I'm very confused.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't understand enough about this cult, and I'm not sure I want to.
No.
Would you join his cult?
No.
They worship Guild Wars 2.
I have a strict zero cult policy. It served me well.
It's usually best to stay away from cults rather than run towards cults.
I need a little bit.
Usually, if you run towards them, there's like people with like arms behind you as well on that way, in that direction.
I need a little bit more info on the cult before I'm gonna say whether I'm gonna join or not. I might join. I might.
Are there robes?
I might.
What color scheme are they? Can you unlock various colors for them?
Are there
And
four?
then bathe. That's a big one.
Can you bathe?
Yes. Is that allowed while a member of the cult?
Yes. Is
These are
shaving
important questions.
optional
So many
or
questions.
out of order?
So many questions. All right, next question from TJ Voss. Says, what other cosmetic items do you want to see in the gem shop? And do you think transmute stones should work on town clothes so we can use the costumes we buy in a battle? They really should. They really should, shouldn't they? That'd be kind of cool.
Silhouettes.
What?
Also, so silhouettes, so the whole idea that like professions share armor, so you have to have recognizable armor. So if everyone could look like a cook in battle, it would be very confusing.
I think that'd be great. You could
I think it would be very confusing.
It would
Also,
be.
ArenaNet's already getting all my money, so it doesn't really matter. They can add more stuff, and I won't be able to buy it because I already spent everything.
I mean, don't you want to wear the aviators into battle?
Look at the face. I think that's a no.
That's a no.
You don't want to wear your
That's-
town, Scott. You don't want to wear your town's clothes in W-Dubs?
No, because I prefer to look menacing and not foppish. Fighting.
In all fairness, the cook's outfit is pretty menacing.
Is it really?
Yeah. You should check it out. Pretty
I will.
menacing.
I've
Still not
got the
good for all
scholars.
people.
I've got the scholars' robes as the outfit that I've got. And let's say if I went running into battle, no one's going to be scared.
He's like, oh, it's the...
Scholars' robe.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's got a pen.
The spatula of doom.
He'll scribble at me. Yeah, it's just not menacing.
All right, they say not menacing. Next up from Damian Hamlin. Damian says, while I'm sure the higher level events will be much tougher than what we've been able to see so far, do you think the dungeons and high level events will be enough to keep things interesting? This is, I mean, we've seen this question a lot. MMO players have been asking this. You know, once they hit max level, I think PvP players especially wondering how this is going to fare out. Richie, what do you think?
Yeah, this is hard to know because we haven't really seen a lot of the end game content, and there's a large group of people, myself included, who come from MMOs that are very end game raider heavy, and so we kind of with no gear treadmill in this game, and no large instance rating, what is going to be the draw once your character hits level 80? Are you going to want to keep doing the explorable mode dungeons? Are you going to want to do these huge large scale events after you've done them a couple times? And I don't know if we necessarily can make much of a judgment call until we see it. But I will say, if you watch some of the YouTube videos where they show off stuff like Tequatl the Sunless, which is one of the huge dynamic events, towards the higher level zones, and it is really kind of epic how they work this. It's not just fighting a huge dragon. There's a whole bunch of things you could be doing. You could be manning turrets. You could be protecting the turrets. You could be protecting the Asura super laser. You could be fighting the ads, and there's a lot going into it, and it really can give you that kind of like end game epic feeling to it. So, how repeatable it is, how much is there an incentive to want to do that over and over again? I think we'll have to wait and see. But I think the end game, or the entire game being the end game, is really going to be a new experience for a lot of people, and we're going to have to adapt what we think is cool about these type of games in order to really see what this is all about.
What do you think, Liz?
What he said.
That's it.
No, so I think it's really where you're going to start to kind of be dependent on ArenaNet making good on their promise about adding events kind of almost constantly to areas, so that things are always fresh and exciting. Seeing how frequently new dungeons come out, if they do, that was something that was talked about way long back, about new dungeons being added and how that would be possible and what that would look like. We can't really know until we've seen it. I would like to think that yes, because I mean, certainly if you have other friends, so you always have people at different levels of progression, so you're always going to have something to do. I just don't know if that will be enough for the people who are looking for a very stereotypical end game.
G. Scott?
I want to know there's going to be content that's going to require my guild to participate. That it's going to be tough enough for it, that I want to be in there with people that I know, that are friends, and we're going to work at something and have a great experience, slapping our face up a wall and getting slapped down quite a few times before we can get there at the end. I want something that's going to take coordination and to make guilds necessary beyond necessary. Because so far, the amount of necessity that there is for guilds at the moment, from just the very early game experience, is limited. So we need something, as we develop, that makes those guilds important to have and to work with each other, which is we're waiting to see. Then to me, that's a really big part of any MMO. I want my guild to be important. There you go.
What he said. I forgot to tell you guys in the beginning of the show, but stick around to the end of the show because I got something coming up right after these questions that I think you're going to like. Something pretty damn cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know about this?
Oh. I think maybe.
I don't know how chat room heard me bring it up. It was like name that tune in like half a millisecond, and they were like, I heard it. It may or may not be a Guild Wars 2 remix by Negative PH coming up at the end of the show. Stick around. All right, let's get back to these questions really quick. All right, so next up, Stuart Cirque says, Gem Store so far is uninspiring for people like me who don't care about cosmetics. Will there be something to cater for other players like myself, or will it be just literally a way to gain gold? This is an odd question. Like, he's complaining about he doesn't have to spend any money.
Why don't you have buy to win? Like, why don't you have pay to win options?
He just wants to spend money. He's like, my God, I got money just coming out of my ears, my arms, and my stink, and I just want to spend it on the gem store. Could you please give me mushrooms? Thank you, Scott.
Well, why doesn't Stuart wear makeup in real life? That's what I want to know. That was the part I picked out of that question. I don't even buy makeup.
I don't care about cosmetics. I shall not wear rouge.
But the serious answer is there are plenty of things that aren't cosmetic. I mean, there's experience boost, crafting boost. There's convenience items like being able to summon your bank anywhere or a merchant anywhere.
Mini pets.
Instant repair canister.
Yeah, and you got the box of fun, different kinds of fun items.
Box of fun is so cool.
Yeah,
Box of fun is
so there's
awesome.
more than just cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's really useful. Like we were saying, there's the summons for the Asura, there's instant repair canisters, there's gentle XP boosts that are not game breaking. So I think they're really trying to provide as much diverse content as possible without crossing over into that pay to win zone. So I don't know that. Yes?
If you're uninspired by the content that's in there at the moment because you don't feel that it changes the game enough for you by throwing money down, well, I'm afraid you're going to be the one person who's unhappy compared to the 150,000 who are going to be unhappy if they put those things in the store, essentially is the issue. So I'm sorry that you can't buy legendary armor or something along those lines.
Can't buy legendary armor?
For cash? No, sorry.
Well, you could put in gold cash to gems to gold to get the legendary armor. So
Yeah.
kind of.
You kind of can. But you can't just go, money, there, now I win. I can stop playing now.
Isn't it kind of
After
perfect?
an hour.
Isn't it kind of perfect if you look at the gem store and say, I don't want anything in there, so then you just bought the game and you don't have to spend any more money and you just get to play the game.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
the people,
Rena
it's the
will be
people
thrilled
like
with that.
it's the people who are like me who look at the gem store and go,
That and
"Want
that.
everything." That's the problem.
Yep.
I'm quite concerned that this person might, like, what would happen if there was genuinely thing, because that could be a lot of money going down the drain quick. I don't know.
I had to get a drink.
It's got to be cosmetic, hasn't it? It's got to be.
I want to buy legendary armor. I thought that was in the
Sorry.
game.
Kind of is, I guess, but
Just not easily.
Maybe the mushrooms
Yeah.
are wearing off. All right, next up from Martin Calcock. Says, is there going to be a convenient way to switch between characters other than quit to login screen and log back in?
There had better be.
I think
Please.
everybody hopefully. I think everyone is hoping that this is just a beta issue, right?
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
can we have the anonymous at the character login screen?
Oh yeah, as opposed to the login screen.
Login screen, because at the moment, if you want to go anonymous, so let's say you want to sneakily play a Guardian and nobody knows about it, you have to do it at the login screen. So if you could just switch characters and go to anonymous, because you say, hey, I just want to spend a little quiet time, that would be nice too.
Yeah.
I love how GuildCast just become like a platform to ask for things.
Please give us this feature, and while you're at it.
All right, next up from Justin Dooley. Justin says, "What awesome color combos have you seen using the dyes?" I don't know combos. I don't know what you're talking about. Pink and purple.
Red and yellow. And...
Well, the separate dye channels do work really well for making very nice effects and giving you a lot of variation with even just a couple of color changes, so that's fun. But awesome color combos, it's kind of depending on what you think is awesome. I don't know.
What do you think is awesome, Richie?
Red and black.
Red and black.
Yes.
All right, what do you think is awesome, Scott?
Thundercats. Oh. What do I think is awesome? Shiny things are really nice. I like shiny things.
Elizabeth, what do you think is awesome?
I think unicorns are awesome. Also, I really like dark grays with bright accents. So there's that.
5 shades of gray are awesome. Get that.
Ugh.
All right, next question from Elizabeth Claire. Elizabeth, are you now sending in your own questions to the show? Because we
I
just
didn't actually think, in my defense, I did not think this would get picked, but I thought it was a worthwhile question. So.
Elizabeth, you're making us look desperate.
I'm really not, it was totally fulfilled because
couldn't you just ask the question on the show?
I meant to, but see, here's what's interesting is that people were talking about it on your Facebook page, so I was actually helping you generate conversation, and the fans had some very interesting and insightful comments.
Although I
feel
would
no
say,
guilt.
I would say that the idea that we were not going to ask the question, knowing that you're probably going to glow bright red when we did, 0 chance.
So,
It's so true.
Elizabeth Claire, do you have the ears? Can you put the ears on?
I'm sorry?
The ears.
Oh.
The little ears there. Elizabeth Claire wants to know, how do you all feel about the dungeon reward system of getting gear tokens rather than a random drop? Do you think this will ultimately lead to having less reason to run dungeons? Great question, Elizabeth. What do you think?
I think that I asked the question so that other people would answer it. I think that I really don't know, which is why I want people to be talking about it, because as it is, if the gear that you get from tokens is the most valuable thing that you can get going through the dungeon, then if you A, don't like the armor set, or B, have gotten it all, why would you still be going through if you can move on to a different dungeon that perhaps presents a new challenge, unless you really like that dungeon? I just want to know how that's going to affect the culture of dungeon running and how people handle that. Or are there going to be things that do have a random drop rate that are more valuable than the tokens you can get at the end?
Yeah, it's gonna come down to how much fun it is to do it.
Yeah.
It's tough because that's exactly what they want to do. They don't want you to feel like you have to run any particular dungeon over and over to get that one drop that you're not getting, or to complete your set. They want you to be able to see everything a time or two, be able to get the tokens, be able to get the gear that you want, how it looks and stuff like that, and then do anything in the game because it's fun to do. But Elizabeth, I don't know. You might be onto something. Maybe long term, maybe 5 months after release, 6 months after release. Maybe people just it was fun for a while, and there's no incentive to do it. Are these dungeons runs are just going to be a thing that people just don't do because of the way they built it? I don't know. That's interesting. I do think that they should.
Well, really, but then don't they only have to basically just add more things to buy with the tokens? That they just have to add more gear that make you go like, oh my god, new shiny, and then you go like, even if you don't really like the dungeon, you're like, I guess I gotta go do that dungeon again. It's kind of easier for them to do it like that. This way, I feel like they can entice you to get back into it. Just by it's actually more flexible.
I'm gonna have to invoke the 800-pound gorilla. Wow, how successful has Transmog been getting people to go and run dungeons because they just want to get the look of it? Perhaps I think that's going to be part of it as well. And how many is it? Is it like it's between 25 and 100 tokens? Is it for the gear? So I can't remember. Is it up to 25 tokens per run? You can get, and there's a few different ways that you can run it each time. So,
yeah, that sounds right.
So then you're only going to end up running it the same way a couple of times at most to get enough tokens to get the thing that you want. So hopefully there'll be enough variety in there to not make it boring in the way that perhaps often it is in MMOs to get that gear together. Especially when, you'll have there'll be some randomness in there from what you're going to get in there anyway. I'd rather that than I know when in other MMOs I've run a dungeon say 27 times to get the one drop. I know that something might drop that's going to help me and I'm going to like, but I also know that I'm definitely going to be able to get something. So that there's a possibility of reward and a definite reward for what I'm doing. Plus, there's enough variety, hopefully. You're not going to have to do it 100 times to get the stuff that you want, and there's enough variety each time you go in there. It's not going to feel like an incredible grind. But
yeah, I think you have a great, you're definitely onto something, Elizabeth. But I personally like this system better than the random drop. I find that's just super annoying.
No, to a certain extent I do too, and I really appreciate the system and the thought that goes behind it. I just wonder, there are people who live for dungeons. I spent a year in a guild that was based around running one dungeon over and over and over again. I ran 400 times before I got the drop that the whole guild was based around. So some people really care about that. Some people think that's fun. I'm not saying that I want to have to run a dungeon 400 times in order to get a drop at all, ArenaNet. No. I just wonder if people are going to want other things to be available through either monster drops or other chest drops that are super random, or what other rewards will there be?
I actually haven't run a dungeon. Do you get after you beat a challenging puzzle or something, what kind of things can you get while you're on the run?
So other bosses, so in Ascalonian Catacombs, say this is actually going to be just an example from story mode. As you're killing other smaller bosses rather than the end boss, it's going to spawn a chest that you can all get stuff from. Plus foes drop, very nice armor and gear and other items. So there's still reward going through it, but I just wonder if none of that reward made me stand up and take notice. I was never like, oh, that's a really cool reason to be running this dungeon aside from the stuff at the end. So I'm really anxious, I guess, to see how it plays out and to see how people who really like dungeons and dungeon running will handle it given the current system of reward.
Yeah, and I hope the dungeons are, obviously all of them are a lot of fun, but I'd hate to think that I got to run dungeons 400 times to try and get a drop. I'd rather be like, all right, I did this a few times. That was fun. I want to move on to the next one, and I'm accumulating tokens to eventually turn in to buy X. That's what I'm working towards, and kind of have that goal. All right, check this out. So some of you guys may know Mike B, little host here on the Gamebreaker TV. Not on this show, but a ton of other stuff. Blizz Blues, the legendary World of Warcraft show. He just finished up a remix of a Guild Wars 2 track. You guys heard this yet?
I have not.
Oh
I have
my
not.
god. You're in for a treat.
Yay!
You really are. I'm gonna play. I'll probably just play the whole thing. It's that good. We won't even do shout outs at the end of the show. Here. Follow Richie. Follow Elizabeth. Follow Scott. We'll see you next week.
Peace.